We hereby call this meeting of the Fan Ghouls Club to order. I'm Hayley.
I'm Brielle, and welcome to Book Club.
Book Club.
Today's episode 7.
Episode 7 already?
Yeah.
Dang.
Chapters 56 through 66.
We're like pretty much smack in the middle now.
I think so.
Yep.
About.
We're heading
What is the
into
page? Yeah.
the second half of the book, which is crazy.
I know.
In case you are new around here, we are currently making our way through the final book of the Throne of Glass series, Kingdom of Ash. We're reading 11 chapters per week, and then we are coming to Book Club
Yay.
to discuss every Monday.
Mm-hmm. Hayley,
Yes.
what did you fangirl over this week?
What did I fangirl over this week? Well, probably you go first. Because I've changed my mind.
Okay. Well, I started watching Outlander.
Ooh.
So that's about it. That's
How
all
far are you?
Not very far.
Okay.
I think I'm in the middle of like episode 10 right now or something.
Oh.
But yeah.
It really kicks off and it goes.
The first 4-ish episodes, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned around quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm just kind of confused / curious about like, there's multiple seasons and I don't really understand and like know what it will be about. So it's
a doozy.
Yeah.
It's a real doozy.
Yeah.
And it jumps like crazy.
over.
So much happens. Like more than most shows that I've seen.
Really?
So much happens. Yeah. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
I know. Me too.
I haven't seen recent seasons, but I really do love it.
How many are there? I haven't even
There are
looked
like
up.
7 now, 6 or 7.
Is there still a new one coming out?
Yeah, I think that'll be the last one.
Oh, shit.
They're right now, I think they're making some sort of documentary about like they've been making it for 10 years.
Oh.
And so they've been like talking about that, which is crazy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I gotta.
You got a lot to see.
Oh, I can't do this again. It's
I
like when
know.
I watched Game of Thrones. I watched all the seasons like in a couple months to try and catch up for the season finale, and it was
You powered through that.
really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Yay, happy for you.
Thank you. What about you?
Okay, I'll just stick with my original thing because, well, I've just been on an anime kick lately. So I'm watching One Piece, which I'm stoked. They are filming season 2 of the live action, and the live action is what got me into the original anime. And I'm on episode like 525.
That's it.
So I'm not even halfway through. But so there's like, spoiler, there's a massive time skip, not a massive one, but a time skip that happens, and the gang has been separated for over 2 years, and they finally got back together in the episode that I watched last night. Yeah. So the gang's back together. It's 2 years later, and I'm excited to see what happens. And this week or next week, we're supposed to find out like the new casting for
A couple characters.
the next season. I'm excited.
Oh, cool.
A couple of my favorite characters. I can't wait.
Is the skeleton gonna be in it?
No, Brooke. That'll be way later on. I hope the live action gets there, but I can't see how.
Yeah.
So anyway, cool fangirl moments of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And now, is it time to jump in? This set of chapters was outrageously amazing and crazy and exciting and scary.
No one died.
No one has died yet. Am I?
Serene
Serene the spider died.
We knew her for like a day.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have died.
I'm interested. Yeah.
Characters that.
Exactly. But like none of the main cast of characters has died. And so I'm happy about that. Mm-hmm. But we still have some pretty wild brink of death moments for sure.
Always.
Okay, so let's jump in.
What page we got? 469.
Oh yeah, let me get there first.
Okay.
So this is kind of great because once again, we were super smart in like planning to read 11 chapters a week because we had a huge cliffhanger last week when the 3 matron witches like showed up at the Croken camp. And so we're like, oh, a huge fight's gonna happen, and sure enough it does. So chapter 56 is, the whole chapter is what I thought at first was going to be like the Crokens versus the matrons, but no, it's a little full on just Manon versus 3 matron witches. So basically what's happening is they show up, they have sort of like a standoff with Manon especially and Glennis, and Glennis is like, oh, what are you doing here? And the matrons are like, haven't seen you in a while, Glennis. Like, well, yeah, you're killing all my witches.
Yeah, we've been hiding.
And Dorian is there, and he's sort of like, whoa, I can't believe this is finally about to happen. Everyone's kind of standing behind Manon, and we're trying to figure out, oh, what is she going to do? And she sort of literally like draws this line in the snow.
So Nesta of her. And she right then and there decides this is going to be her fight and her fight alone. She tells everyone to stand off. She crosses that line, and she just takes off in this crazy, awesome, fast-paced battle between herself and the 3 matrons. She kills the Yellowlegs matron. She's just like, she slices her throat, and she just goes down because they walked in and the Yellowlegs matron was wearing Rhiannon's crown, and she was like, oh, hell no. Rude.
Yes. And so she's like, I gotta get rid of this one first. And then she's sort of battling it out with the other 2 matrons. The Blue Bloods matron is all along kind of thinking, oh, something's different about Manon. And Manon ends up, did she scare her off?
She just like ran. Yeah,
she totally scares her off. And then we are left with the ultimate standoff between Manon and her grandmother. And ultimately, this amazing moment happens at the end of the chapter where Manon turns to Astrid and is like, I'm going to let you deal this killing blow because this is your kill to make. This isn't mine. And Astrid is like tearing up. And before she could even turn around, Manon's grandmother is running to her wyvern to get up out of there. And so, yeah, she kills 1 out of the 3, and then the other 2 literally like run off with their wyvern's tails between their legs. Ultimately, at the very end of the chapter, Manon is crowned Queen of the Witches, and it is the highlight of my life. This was the highlight of my life. Wow. Absolutely incredible chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the biggest thing is that the Yellowlegs matron showed up wearing Rhiannon's crown, which was just rude as hell.
I wrote, hell no.
Yeah. Like, girl, what are you thinking? Oh, like everyone is already pissed off enough. Like, why do you have to do that?
It's like they thought they knew they could instigate like this, but they had no idea who and what Manon has become. It's pretty awesome.
I liked that most of, or if not the whole thing, was it all in Dorian's POV?
Well, once the fight really began, it did shift to his POV, and he was like, yeah, he never saw anything like it in his life.
He would be like one of us. Like, he's such a fangirl. It cracks me up.
Dorian is a total fangirl.
He is just always like kind of fangirling.
Yeah.
I just appreciate that about him, obviously. When Manon beheaded the matron because she was wearing the crown, and it made the note of the same in that battle that they had earlier in the book of like that head rolled towards him and he kind of like froze. Yeah. The same thing happened, like the head kind of rolled towards him, but this time he just kind of like stared at it.
Yeah.
And he kind of was like, cool.
I loved the notes of like the descriptions of the change in both of them in this chapter. Manon especially, obviously, but my favorite was when she kept saying that she was not afraid. Like, she's not afraid anymore. Because chapters ago, it was that whole discussion with Dorian where she is afraid. She doesn't know who she is. And this is that ultimate, like, comeuppance of, I know who I am now. I'm going to stand for it, and I'm not afraid. Oh, and it's just, like, so incredible and something that we've been waiting for so long.
I know.
And for Dorian to, see that and be so... he admires it so much. It's like so satisfying. I love it. Dorian watching, she ordered him to stand down and he'd obey. I was like, yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, like they were all just understood that like it was her fight and she was going to try and
at least stand up for all of them, because she kind of felt like, I think deep down also, she was nervous that she led them there.
Yeah.
So I think she was also like, I'm not letting you, you know, harm them if I accidentally led you all here anyway.
I know.
But then in that one moment, she did stop, and when she was going to let Astrid come forward, and like she was going to have her, she was even saying like her own grandmom, she was like, it was not my kill to have.
I know.
Whereas before, she was so set on like her kills. You know what I mean?
I
like
know.
she got mad at Dorian the one time when he like protected her, I think the Ilkin on the ship.
Yes.
And she was like, how dare you take my kill? Like she was so intense about that type of stuff. So for her to offer up a kill,
especially this one,
is a big
yeah
step for her.
It was totally just like Astrid, like everyone would agree. But you're exactly right. She was like this. We met her as this killing machine, and like nothing else mattered except the next kill, and like. And I think to this day, she still obviously has that inside of her.
Yeah.
It makes her who she is, you know, and whether for better or worse, but she's matured so much in this like diplomatic way and has become this queen. Yeah. And I think like I love, and we'll talk about that too like a little later, but I love seeing Aylin's influence on her. I think that is there. It does remind me of the time when Aylin gave Lysandra Arabin as her kill, you know?
They're like, oh, you're my bestie, you can have it.
It's like a cool parallel there that I really loved.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that this is exactly why I'm wearing my new Manon Black Beak shirt.
She's the queen.
Yeah. Okay.
Chapter 57. We jump back more north. We are in a Rowan POV, and he is been concerned and confused that Aylin has not been using her powers at all, / hasn't even mentioned anything about them. But he's been nervous to bring it up because obviously, as we all know, she's been going through some stuff after being tortured for a few months. So
you don't say.
You know. He's nervous to kind of bring it up.
It's not funny.
And then Fenris comes up to him and they have a nice little chit chat. He tells Rowan tiny details about her torture and basically a little bit of what happened. Excuse me. The seltzer just gets to me.
I want a compilation of those at some point.
So one of the things he did explain to her was that her claim marks was the last thing to go. Yeah. And they only faded and fully went away once she really thought that he wasn't coming for her.
Way to make him feel a little guilty there. Damn.
He was like, okay.
Fenris.
They all went on a little walkie walk. They found a locked door below, like kind of like a basement in the keep.
I loved this part.
And they were like, oh, it's locked. Maybe we should just walk away. And Rowan was like, nah, let me open it with my wind. So he was like, yeah, he did that. Just like that. And then so they go in and they find out that is where all the last remaining like nice things are in the keep, because they've all been like shitting on how
it's like a big fancy like armory kind of thing.
They've been shitting on how bad the keep looks, but this is where all the nice like generational wealth and, you know, items have been hiding.
Yep.
They end up finding some armor. They all find different things that can fit them here and there. And I did find it cute. Rowan and Fenris were like, oh, we got to take some for Gabrielle and Lorcan. They were like, we got to get some armor for our friends.
It was such a cutesy moment. I loved it.
So everyone was prepping outside for the battle. It's about to start, and they see 2 siege towers. So they're like, well, shit, we're about to get in on it. They've been waiting, and Aylin hasn't shown up yet, but they've reached the walls, and they've reached Aniel, so it is time to battle. The battle finally starts. Aylin finally does her grand entrance and shows up in her new armor that is fit for a queen that she found as well in the basement, and even Rowan was like amazed. But he's like in the middle of fighting, but he's also like double taken.
You can see all of them doing that.
Basically, she came out swinging. She was ready to Shrek everyone. Everyone was so excited because this is the first that she's shown up
in battle.
People have seen her in battle.
Yeah.
So people are starting to get hyped and like have some hope. So they're all yelling to the queen, and that's when Rowan loosed his battle cry.
Hell yeah.
Kale shows up on his Was he on the horse here? I don't know yet.
Farasha, yeah, I think so. He fights on
So
Farasha.
they all started fighting, and there's some quotes here and there that I know we're both going to want to mention, but I think that's basically it. It was just them really getting started on that battle, and
yeah.
here we go. It happened fast. They're like, oh, here's some armor, and then the next page they're like, here we go. And I was like, oh no.
Well, I guess to be fair, they've already been, well, not them, but Annie L has been in battle for days, but this was going to be the big, they're coming toward, they're taking siege of the towers, it was like anxiety inducing, especially with everyone being so uneasy about Aelin and her powers and her, where was she? But then it's like, just in true Aelin fashion, she just had to like take a little extra time to get ready. I think we get some insight in the beginning about the claim marks, but also that confirmation that Cairn and Maeve did burn her like multiple times. So it wasn't even just that time we saw at the very end of her captivity. So I think it's telling that it's like, this is obviously why she's, or what we thought was why she wasn't using her power or unable to. Yeah.
We thought she was scared of the fire.
Yeah. I loved the scene where they're looking through all the stuff and getting armor. It was so cute. And then
Rowan was like, oh, it looks like it was already open.
Yeah.
Because he like blew it open with the wind.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are so funny.
And he's like, of course, you would find this and all that. It was so great. That's just a nice little fun moment before war. More war. The Queen of Terrazin. I loved this moment, and I think I like immediately thought of the parallel between these first two chapters of this chunk, and like hailing Manon as the Queen of Witches, and then hailing Aelin as the Queen of Terrazin, and just being so excited for, I mean, these two main characters finally like really, or right now really stepping into those roles that they've been, whether they knew it or not, training for books on books on books, even though it's less than a year since the beginning.
Every single time. I think there was something in this chunk. They were like, oh, just last spring. And I was like, are you?
Less than a year ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not true. I just refuse to believe it. Anyway.
It's like Twilight.
just like Twilight always.
I liked that when they started taking stuff, Fenris like winked at Elide and he was like, I won't tell if you don't, lady. And she was like, hee.
I know. Yeah, they were all so cute. I couldn't help but think of like, compare this to how it's going closer to Orinth and be like, damn, there is no levity at all up there. And it's just Lysandra. Well, I mean, they have an army, but it's literally just Lysandra and Adian who are not even who are hardly speaking. Yeah. And they're just trudging through and like barely surviving. And so it's like a hint of guilt almost to be enjoying like
I know
this, which is more, they have more confidence, obviously they have more hope, and they almost know that they can do this because they're all together. So it's like, why did you leave?
They just left the two of them alone.
Like, they had Fae warriors, I get it, they had this and that, but I guess no one could have known the strength of the Morath army going up there, and what they didn't know what was going to happen. But it's still like, I can't help but think of them. Anyway,
I did like this one right as no sign of Aelin yet, and Lorcan started being all sassy about it as always. He cracks me up. But Rowan literally said, "Better show them what we can do, guys." And I fully picture Avengers 1. Yeah. When they're in New York standing around and they all stand back to back and it's the iconic like 360 shot. I imagine the four of them like pulling out a superhero pose in slow motion. And I was like cracking myself up.
HBO, please give this to us.
Because he was like, better show them what we can do. And then they were all like, shwing.
I can't, there is nothing else in my mind than Tom Hiddleston. Lorcan in this image. I love it, which is incorrect again, but whatever. So there's a moment on 492
to Lord Kale, to
when,
the queen.
Yeah, Kale's like observing Aelin being a badass, and he's like able to fight, which we didn't think would happen. And someone yells to Lord Kale, to the queen, and it's just like, whoa, that's crazy that we're here again. We're reminded like how far they've come, and it's so awesome.
Such little time.
And Aelin smiled grimly. She'd bring them all down, then Erewhon, and then she'd unleash herself upon Maeve. So she's gaining some like
hope,
her own confidence and hope back too.
I did like her, it wasn't necessarily a quote, but her POV of she was no helpless princess. She had never been.
Yes, exactly. Aww. It's like, you know, it's proof that even in when she was, you know, in captivity, I think she always felt that way. Mm-hmm. She was always fighting it, which is beyond admirable.
Sentence.
Oh, the last sentence.
Yeah, death had been her curse and her gift and her friend for these long, long years. Again, she's like 20, but okay.
Yeah.
She was happy to greet it again under the golden morning sun.
I'm obsessed.
How beautiful.
Like, she's so dramatic, and I love it so much. It's so good. All right. Chapter 58. So we're in battle now. Everyone is fighting, and we jump from POV to POV of where everyone is at. I call this the Helm's Deep chapter. It's very like Battle of Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings. So we start with Alide, who is helping the healers, and she's just sort of like marveling at how much they're able to do. And she's like, okay, I guess however I can help. Like she's limping around, just trying to like help as much as she can. And then we have Kale fighting on Farasha, and he's cute. He has this moment where he's like chuckles because he's like, this horse is named Butterfly, and like she's so badass.
He's obsessed with his horse.
Yeah, I love it. And he's fighting, and his motivation is obviously like his wife is in the keep, and he will not fail her, which is so great. Then we've got Nazrin and Sartak who are on the rucks, and they're sort of fighting and observing, and they basically see a chunk of the Morath army over by this like dam, and they are like, oh crap, we should go investigate that and see what's going on, because it seems like they might be trying to pull something here. And lo and behold, it looks as though they're trying to break the dam so that basically it creates this huge water rush that's going to wipe out the entire plain of all soldiers, Morath and Coggin and Aniel alike. So that's pretty scary. And so I think Nazrin and Sartak are trying to hatch a plan to try and get over there and stop that before it's too late. And then we have Lorcan, who is thoroughly enjoying this fight. I think he and all of the Fey warriors are just like, I mean, we've done this a billion times, but this is kind of what they were literally born and bred for. And Lorcan is kind of in this strange, like, he's dancing with death almost, where he's like, I'm going to like F around and find out, kind of.
Just killing calm.
Because he's thinking, he's like, okay, killing calm, yeah. Because Alide, he doesn't think he deserves her. He wants her to be happy. He's kind of come to terms with the fact that he will probably never have her.
He's okay to die if he needs to.
So he's just sort of accepting it, and he's like, he's taking all these blows, and that kind of bites him in the end, because sure enough, he gets like slashed up the middle by Valg, and he goes down and he passes out, and we don't know what's come of him, but that's the end of the chapter.
Yay.
It's like, damn, okay.
In the beginning of Alide's POV, it mentioned again, I think one of the biggest things I'll be pissed about if we finish this book, and there's not like something about this girl.
Yeah.
There's not like some big reveal or aha moment, you know? Because it mentioned once again, like the generous gift of power that ran through the Loken?
I say Loken.
Bloodline. Alide possessed no power. Her only gift had been reading people and lying.
Yes.
But like it just mentions so many times.
Yeah. Something's going to get unleashed there.
Does it have something to do with like her limp? Like is there something like, is her power blocked because of this injury?
That's exactly what I think, yeah.
So like when Irene fixes it,
she has to heal her, and then
something's going to happen.
Yeah. Some crazy magical, she's going to like, it's going to be like, who's the princess, where she's like lifted up in the air.
Like
she's
Sailor
like
Moon.
Swirling. Sure. Yes. Well, I guess all of them. I'm thinking of like a Disney princess, but all of them. All of this. Where
Fiona. And
yeah.
Yeah, it's like Fiona and Shrek, where she's like
Swan
lifted up in the
princess.
air. And she's like swirling around in the magical swirlies, and then she comes down and she's evolved.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They're all so powerful, and like I think she, in her own right, is, but there's something yet to be discovered.
Yeah.
I think like in the last chapter we got a little cocky, and we're like, oh yeah, everyone's like armored up, they're joking about it, they're ready to go, they're all together, they're confident, they're excited. Aelin arrives and everyone's like, oh, we've got this in the bag. And then this moment with like Nezran and Sartak being like, oh, we've got, this is a bit of a wrench in our plans.
Yeah.
This could be really bad, and Morath doesn't care if even their own die.
Yeah, they were like,
but they're gonna do it.
Yeah, Nezran even noted that Falcon, Lysandra's uncle, who was flying around fighting in wyvern form, or no, he was a ruck. She said that she could have sworn that he fought with a new vigor now that he's like younger again.
Yeah.
And I also would just like to think that maybe it's because he like now has Lysandra to look forward to meeting, so he's now
something
he's
to
like
fight for. Yeah, it's
he has
absolutely
something.
I think even more so than his newfound youth. Like even if that hadn't happened, I think he still
would have.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that one to happen.
Some hope for Lysandra. Like girl.
And that's what
Hold
I need.
on.
That's what I'm excited for. That there's obviously other big other big reunions coming up still, but that one's I'm very excited for because they both literally have no one else. So like I think that'll be a really nice moment.
And he'll be able to.
And she doesn't even know about him.
I know. And if she really does take her place in Terrazin, like he can help fill that, and I think she'll feel more of a claim to it too. And it'll be really awesome because and she'll be so proud of like how he's helped everyone here. You know, like I have chills. Like I can't wait.
Oh yeah, that they both didn't even know.
And before he even knew about her, he was helping the cause. You know,
the cause.
It's so awesome.
Anything else for that one?
I think that's it. It was pretty cut and dry. Like just where everyone's at in the battle, and it rages on.
And it went.
And then Lorcan, I was like, but at this point, I'm like, but he's a Fae warrior, and he's just kind of he's messing around. Like he's not taking it seriously. He'll be fine.
I wish I could make cricket noises, but I cannot. Anyway, chapter 59. I still want to do a dramatic reading. I know. The battle was officially dying down. They officially had won.
This happened fast as well. I'm like, oh, okay.
And we really thought it was going to happen. But Lord Westfall did not die in this battle.
No. Yeah. The dad. I'm like, of course Kale's not going to die.
No.
Yeah, dad.
Yeah, we were positive that one was going to happen, and it did not.
Yep.
Okay. But he was pissed about all the stolen armor. They made a note. They're still waiting on Prince Kashin's army.
Yep.
But then they're all excited that they did win. But Nezran and Sartak come swooping on down to let them know.
Sure enough.
Yay, we kind of won, but everyone still might die. So they told them about the dam and that they need to evacuate the army. And now there's already healers on the battlefield trying to help. Like there's already more people on the battlefield, so they need to evacuate everyone. So they're all chit-chatting, trying to figure out a plan what to do. Rucks are going to come down, pick everyone up that they can. Like, people are going to ride the horses. Like, everyone's going to help as much as possible. Those that are too far away are going to head over the other way to, like, the city and the woods, climb the trees. Like,
God.
It got real sad, like, real fast.
Serious. Yeah, I'm like, oh.
So Alide comes out and finds them all and learns what's wrong. So they're all chit-chatting. And then she noticed, guys, where's Lorcan? And none of them noticed before she said that.
Of course not.
They were all like, oh shit, what? So Rowan told Fenris to please teleport, go find him. You have to do it right now. He was getting a little bossy about it. And then Fenris just sadly said, I can't. And Rowan was like, oh, what are you talking about? Absolutely you can. You better fucking do it. And then he was like, getting kind of mean about it. And Fenris was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And then so Alide wasted no time. She turned and she ran. And so Alide made her promise to Lorcan that she will always find him. So she ran down towards the gate and then was trying to figure out what to do. She found Kale's horse. She hopped on her, she even asked her, what did she say?
Farasha, she's like, I need you to,
she's like, I need you to do it, please.
I have need of you, fierce heart.
Fierce heart. Everyone loves this horse. Like, this horse is such a main character.
She's so magical.
So then she hops on her and rides out to the battlefield.
It started off, it was like, we were up here because we like won. We won the moment.
Already.
And then it took such a fast
Very
decline.
fast. Yes.
I loved Nesrin's, we have a problem. That's how she started it.
So
Lord Westfall and Princess Hassar were comparing notes, basically. And the Cognite army suffered minimal losses, but then Aniel took quite a hit, so a lot of their guys went down. And Kale really has, like, he's like a lord in this moment. And he's like, summon the Rucks, open the gates, send people this way and that way. And like, he knows the lay of the land, but in this moment he's really taking charge. And I was like, oh, I love that. I love that for him.
Dude, I fucking love Gale. Like,
he's the best.
Don't understand.
Yeah. He's so fit for this role. I love it for him.
I love it for him.
Captain of the King's Guard training. He just has to think on his feet, and he has to like protect at all costs. And
but
so
now
I love
it's
that
like
coming through.
kicking it into high gear because now he has this thing that he needs to protect no matter what. So
and it's not Dorian.
Even though they both think of each other.
And he
first
wishes
chance they ever get.
and he wishes it was. But no, it's his wife and unborn child.
Little baby.
Baby.
Do we know if do we know the gender?
No.
We don't?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
We do not. And I lied walking in and being like, where is Larkin?
It's just
Where's Larkin?
Dead silent. No one
Like,
noticed?
no one says anything. She says it like 80 times.
Oh my god.
The selfish part of me was not happy, but I was a little bit excited at the prospect of this being a pathway to them rekindling their romance. And
near-death experiences usually do that.
I'm still thinking Lorcan's fine. He's just sort of probably just
Going
chilling
on a
out
walk.
there. Yeah. He's out there doing, walking around. So anyway, yeah.
He was doing the opposite.
Yeah. So we begin chapter 60, and everyone is now jumping into high gear trying to figure out how to find and save Lorcan. If he is in fact on the plane somewhere. So everyone's trying to rack their brains. Like Rowan's wondering his magic's only going to delay the inevitable, and he's trying to think, I could fly to the dam and try and do something there, but that's not going to work. And then we find out Fenris is saying the power that he has, what I'm calling winnowing, is something that he and his brother shared. And I think once his brother died, that part of him went away as well. And so it's terrible. And Rowan's like, oh, damn, I feel bad about that. So
sorry.
Gavriel's there, and he's just trying to be like, I could try and like track him in some way.
Love Gabriel.
And Kale's like, my horse, she just took my horse and like ran off. And so then everyone's up at the keep, like watching this go down. And so Alide is on Farasha, and she's like literally flying, screaming his name, riding across the field, riding and riding and riding. Irene shows up to the keep, and Kale's like explaining what's going on, and she's like, my god, Silba, save her. Still trying to find Lorcan, and eventually she does, and he is laying underneath a bunch of dead Morath soldiers. She finds him because there are like 100 of them around in one,
like a trail
in one spot.
Yeah.
They like led him to him, and they're all piled on top of him.
He's just taking a nap.
And I think she does notice, like, oh, he just let this kind of happen to him, almost. She's trying to get him awake, and she ends up just like screaming at him and forcing him up on the horse. He gets him on the horse. They're riding. He is alive, but definitely dying. And she screams to Farasha, to the keep, friend, faster than the wind. And she's praying that the gate holds so that they can make it through. And we end the chapter here. at least he's alive. We
His
know
guts are
his
hanging
guts are
out.
literally, his innards
My innards are outwards.
are outwards at this point.
Uh-oh.
He's not just gonna heal himself and be fine.
I
This might
guess Fae can't heal themselves if their intestines are hanging out.
and also like can't move because they're covered in
Valg.
Valg. Yeah.
Favorite little quote was Fenris saying that Hellas
Yes.
guards Lorcan
Yes.
and Aneth,
Anieth is what I said.
Aneth, his
Yeah.
consort, watches over Elide.
Yep.
So perhaps they will find each other. Like
Yep.
it was destined.
And let's not forget. And then Kale reminds everyone he used to call Farasha Hella's horse. I was like, oh my god, I had totally forgotten about that.
So he has another moment of, he's so introspective sometimes. He has another moment of kind of like invisible string where he was like, maybe the reason I even met her and brought her here is because of this moment. And she was destined to be here to help Elide find Lorcan.
So he's not so mad that she took the horse anymore. He's like, oh, this is it's just meant to be. A veritable road of Valg demons flowed ahead. She followed
Just
it.
like the yellow brick road.
Literally, I do think it does continue to point in the way of like her influence. I think she's got more of a magical influence than anyone could realize.
It's in her bloodline.
Yeah, like maybe not anyone could have gotten him up and on the horse. And she's just a tiny little like girl
I know.
with a bum ankle, like, and a foot, and the fact
Just a tiny little girl with a bum.
she is, but yet she does have this influential kind of in her speech that
Yeah.
I think there's something in when she says something, the person like has to do it or something. You know what I mean?
I heard a rumor.
Yeah, almost like that.
The only thing I could think of at the end of this is when she saw the gate and she's like, oh my god, hold the gate. Please hold the gate. Keep it open. I could just only think of Hodor. Hodor! I was like, hold the door.
That's so true. Ouch.
So I got nervous. I was like, if something doesn't go well on this.
Right, it has
that
to
one
go.
didn't turn out well, so.
It has to go exactly right at
Yeah.
the right, and the timing has to be perfect.
Which it almost didn't.
My notes are funny and absolutely pointless.
I
The
love
way
'em.
it's like, oh my god, Elide. Everyone just watching her. She found him. Sad face. Hold the gate. Those are my notes for this chapter. Like,
Yeah, I think I suddenly became an Elide and Lorcan fan.
oh,
Just
who
like
couldn't?
that.
Who couldn't?
Holy hell.
All right.
Yes, chapter 61. Elide is racing on Farasha, trying to keep the dying Lorcan behind her alive and trying to get him to the gate before they close it. Finally able to see the gate because Lorcan like is barely holding on. Every bump and run, he's like...
Of course, he was as far away as possible.
Yeah. He's literally going to explode. Like every bump and like step, he's just like dying and it hurts. So he leans forward and sees how far they're still away from the gate. So he leans forward and whispers in her ear that he and his weight is just slowing her down and that she needs to let him go. I'll skip over the big quotes right now. Basically, Elijah says, nah, shut the fuck up. So then next we jump to Rowan POV right as they hear the dam break. It's a huge crack that echoes around the valley and the mountains and the
Reliving this is hard.
They just hear this huge crack. And right as they hear it, everyone is still sad and now realizing that like Elide and Lorcan, like they're not going to make it back in time because once that water starts hitting, like it's going to go so fast, they're not going to make it. So Rowan turns to find Aelin, probably to comfort her, just see if she's okay, or like blah, 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 blah. And
because she's
to
quiet.
no one's surprise, it's because she's not there.
Peace.
And so he's looking around and he sees over on the battlefield Bort's ruck. Borte, whatever.
I'm not even. No comment.
Don't judge. What is her ruck's name? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Either way, her ruck is flying over the battlefield with Aelin
Arcus.
dangling in its talons. I just imagine her like dangling over the battlefield. And then she stands there, dead, alone in the middle of this battlefield. And they start seeing cracks in the ground, like, form around her. And they're like, what is going on? And then she starts slowly, like, glowing. And Kale is the one that notes, and he says she's channeling the hot springs that are underneath the ground.
Crazy.
Then she shoots up a giant cobalt fire. First she shoots one, like, straight up in the air or something, just for show, because I just think that's what she does. And then so she shoots some bright cobalt fire at the tidal wave. Basically, everyone is just in awe, and it causes blistering steam to shoot everywhere.
Yeah.
And then so Rowan instantly gets worried and realizes it. And so he uses his wind to shoot the steam away from everyone as much as he possibly could. Rowan is already really spent. Like, his magic is, like, really low after the battle in general. And then Fenris and Gavriel start lifting him up and holding him up to help him, because he's helping everyone by using his wind. And then so she basically just evaporates all of the water, like
Crazy.
a giant
Can you imagine?
dam released, and she evaporated all of it, and she's just standing there glowing, like, white hot.
Yeah.
And then she slowly starts to, like, pass out, and she's, like, falling over. And the last thing we see or read is that she sees a white-tailed hawk flying over the battlefield, and then a last second that he shifts and then catches her before she falls over.
It's such a movie. I know. This was a great... I mean, like, this is, like, the chapter of chapters. 2 huge things happen.
Yeah.
Lorcan professing his love, and you think he's going to die.
Because he starts releasing his hands.
The-
He says,
the-
I love you. You have to let me go.
He slid his other arm around Alide, bringing his mouth close to her ear as he said, you have to let me go. Like, for him, like, imagining him being this soft. And I have a thing for this, for the, like, he's only like this with her trope. Like, I am obsessed with it. And so
it's just like Jess.
Jess and Rory effect is, like, kills me. And so this whole moment where he's so soft with her and he's telling her to let it go.
He kisses her on the cheek.
And he tells her he loves her. You have to. I'm too heavy. I loved you from the moment you picked up that axe to slay the Ilkin, and I will be with you always. Like, he says a lot. He says a lot of things here, and I'm like, Eli, you better not let him go. She's just a hero in this moment for just...
He, like, goes to release his arms, and all she does is, like, dig her claws, and she doesn't have claws, but her nails into his arms, and she just says, fuck you.
This is her power. It's like, he's on the brink of death, obviously. He's very weak right now, but he could easily just, like, lean and topple off. Just like... like, she couldn't stop that.
Yeah,
but
I somehow thought it was funny that,
because
like,
of her words, I'm convinced that's how she does it. And then, because then she's literally telling this horse to fly, and it just says, and she did.
You got it.
It's like, it's so, she's killing it. Like, it's awesome. And then, I mean, obviously, Aelin is like, we do learn that this was meant for Maeve.
This is why she hasn't used her power the whole time.
It is astounding. I was, like, dumbfounded by learning. So all those moments in captivity when she was saying, like, she was burying herself deep. We're thinking at that time, she's just conserving herself so that she doesn't feel the pain or anything like that. But all the while, she was actually storing power.
Because of the irons?
Yeah.
It helped her dig deeper into her power
It
even
helped
more
her,
than you could otherwise.
Yeah.
So we learn that it's just like,
like, are you kidding me?
And in 1 second, like, Rowan knew it. She's like, this is why she hasn't. It's supposed to be for Maeve.
All this time we thought that she was just like, she was spent and she was scared and, like, all of this. And of course, this is what she does.
Yeah. She had a
Yet
plan.
again, she has a secret little plan that she doesn't tell anybody else.
Which he brings up later. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, please.
It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, the description of it, I mean, we can't even go through it. It has to be portrayed someday, please.
Oh my God.
I'm dying to see that. I mean,
this
you
is,
couldn't
I think,
even.
the first time we've ever gotten the description that her fire was blue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which blue fire is the hottest.
Mhm.
So
Frightening.
yeah. And everyone was like,
Yeah.
seeing her use this kind of power, everyone was kind of like, oh.
The
my
evolution
God.
is insane.
And my favorite moment was like Rowan falling over because he's about to hit a burnout, and Fenris and Gabrielle like lifting him up and literally like holding.
I know. And this is also when Irene realizes, oh, this is Mala's heir. Like, this is who this is.
Yeah, Irene like being in all of her power was
Insane.
yeah.
This one note I have about Elide and Lorcan, and Elide being like, no, I'm keeping you here with me. I said, this is what Rose should have done for Jack and the Titanic. Like if she wanted to, she could. Okay.
It's so true.
I'm just saying, I'm going to try and keep this brief.
Okay. I believe in you.
This is chapter 62, which I have titled Hayley's Death. I wrote it. It says it right here. Hayley's Death. Okay, so at the beginning of this chapter, we learn that the Crokins they're still there with Manon. They're still behind her. She has been crowned queen of the witches, and Manon I think is a little surprised to be like, oh, so you're gonna rally behind me here. Cool. Oh yes, they did travel. So the 13 and the Crokins together are flying southwest towards the outer reaches of the Fangs. This whole chapter is pretty much a moment between Manon and Dorian. And so last time they spoke, she kind of was being really not nice to Dorian when he was attempting to infiltrate the Omega and Petra Blueblood's clan, and when Manon did her speech to them, and they haven't really spoken since. Then the matron fight happened, and now Manon and Dorian are alone together, and she's kind of joking about her crown. She's like, I never see you wear yours. And he's like, well, it can get heavy. And she's like, this doesn't feel heavy at all. And he's like, well, it's literally made of light. So, and then she says, like, I know that you're leaving, and I know that you're going to Morath, and you're leaving like tomorrow, aren't you? And he says, yes. She apologized because she spoke ill of his. She apologizes to him. That she was kind of mean to him, and she's kind of then like, well, Morath's a death trap, and ultimately does say, well, you could stay. She's kind of coaxing him at first. She's like, so you're not afraid to go alone? Like, you're really going? And he's like, of course I'm scared, but this is my task and it's important. And she says, and if I asked you to stay? And he's kind of still playing coy. He's like, well, I would need a good reason, I guess. And she says, I just want you to, and I don't want you to go. She's sort of like giving herself to him in this moment. And it rings true when she proposes an alliance between the two of them, and meaning a marriage, and that she would ultimately, it mentions that she would sacrifice solely being the queen of witches and going to the wastes in order to keep him from going to Morath. Like, she says, if I could forge this alliance, we could forge this alliance, like maybe there's some way we could help without you having to go to Morath. He's toying with the idea, but in the end, they come together and they have one final night together, and he's gone the next morning. And that's how the chapter ends. And he's clearly gone to Morath, and
You died a little.
And I die. And I have never I sent you pictures.
I was gonna say that was the picture you sent me of you like crying in bed as you read it.
I was sobbing. Yeah. So, long story short, she finally, in her own way, professes feelings, but just wants him to stay, doesn't want him to go to Morath, and proposes that they get married and become king and queen together, just to keep him with her.
She's like, do you want to form
An alliance
with me?
I knew he was going to leave, and we've been talking about this, and I've always said that I would be okay.
You were not okay.
And I was not okay.
I was shook that she apologized.
First of all, yes.
I don't think she's ever apologized for anything ever in her whole life.
Even
Dorian was shook. He like just blinked. He was like, the hell?
Blink, blink. And there are just a lot of great little one-liners in this chapter. Like when he says she was his POV, she was his equal, his match, and his mirror in so many ways.
My favorite was his little, you guys have brooms and wyverns, but I've learned to grow my own wings.
So corny. I love it. He's so cute. Yeah, and it's so enticing to him, this idea. Like, he's like,
he almost said yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like looking at her and he's like touching her, and it would make, well,
he wants that more than anything.
Yeah.
But he knows that wouldn't suit her.
It doesn't suit her. I think they could be happy, but that's not necessarily what she wants.
No.
Oh, when she attributes it to a sacrifice, I was like, womp womp.
Yeah,
damn it.
Yeah. Well, that's because she's thinking of Aelin.
But it's true, yeah.
She was like, why should Aelin be the only one sacrificing something? So that was what sold it for him.
Mm-hmm.
The second she said that, I was like, oh.
Snapped him back into...
Her marrying me would be a sacrifice. But they finally cuddled.
And then, right, that's another moment of growth. It's like when Manon pulls the blankets over them and then they sleep, they fall asleep together. And then she wakes up to a cold bed and he's gone.
God damn it, Dorian.
Devastating. That's why I was sobbing so hard. It felt like a final goodbye.
Yeah, but they're both going to be in this war together. They're going to see each other. Huh?
Well, unless Dorian's going to Morath. He's going to get the 2 other keys and then he's going to sacrifice himself with them.
He's going to sacrifice himself.
He doesn't necessarily have to go. He doesn't have to go north.
True.
Anyway, I'm doing great.
We're back in the north.
To the north, yay!
To the sad, depressing north.
Oh my god.
In chapter 63.
Yay.
We're back with Adian and Killian are trying to keep the panicking troops in line. So then in a last effort, Adian asks Ren to call for aid. Technically, neither of them have that power, but Ren is Lord, at least.
Yeah, and Killian's like, just do whatever you want.
So he asks Ren to send out and call for aid for help in this war. And Ren, says, fine, I'll do it anyway. And, Adian says no one came 10 years ago. But maybe someone will bother to now.
To bother. Damn.
Morath finally catches up to them, and the battle begins. They're squished between the oncoming Morath army and the huge river behind them that they can't cross. So they all start shooting their arrows. They have significantly less soldiers than they do, and Morath starts shooting back, only it wasn't arrows that was hitting them, but heads of Ansel's other army that they've been waiting for this whole time.
Oh, God.
So they just hear Ansel's cry and scream once everyone realizes whose heads are hitting them.
Pain.
And they were about to lose hope when suddenly fire starts shooting from the left flank. And he was like, fire? My side? Aelin? What's happening? There's no way. And it's Rolf's fleet.
The Mycenians.
They finally show up because they could literally pulled up on the river in their boats. And they had fire lances. And as we've come to learn, Morath and Valgs are terrified of fire. Mm-hmm. So they all start running the other way.
Yay.
Rolf and his team and soldiers are ordering everyone onto the boats. So they all start running. And Ansel, Adian, Lysandra, Ren, and Killian, I believe, maybe Elias too, they all stay in the front lines to make sure everyone's running back and gets onto the boats. But Ansel stood there as the Morath soldiers are running away, holding out her sword, just pointed at them. Like,
bad, so bad.
Vengeance. I noted Adian specifically says not a single soldier was left behind, but only the dead. I was like, okay.
Yeah, we know.
They get on the boat and they finally meet up with the pirate lord. Lysandra shifts to hug him, but she's butt-ass naked, which is so funny.
So funny.
As she hugs him, and everyone's like awkward.
Yeah.
But Rolf puts his cloak over her.
Love him more and more.
Rolf was asking for Aelin, but they were like, no, she's not here. And Rolf says, I can bring you to Orinth, but not everyone. You have too many people. So Killian and the troops are going to march north, while Adian, Lysandra, and others are going to sail there with Rolf and to get there ahead of time and to make sure they have time to plan. Ansel is on the corner of the boat looking all sad, and Lysandra goes over to comfort her, and that is the end of that chapter.
Yeah, so highs and lows. Yeah, Ansel's army being catapulted at them is like the worst thing ever.
So rude.
That's the one thing we thought was they're going to be their saving grace. We're just like, we've been waiting for them to join for so long.
Yeah.
Something like this had to happen eventually.
Yeah, but I couldn't figure out who or what it was going to be.
So just the method of which it happened was like terrible, and poor Ansel.
In the beginning, right before the Morath army caught up with them, they were staying there in line waiting to start this battle, and Adian thinks of Gavriel, and he says he can only think what his father would make of his son, like standing in line and fighting with his people finally, and like I just like that he was thinking of his dad. Daddy.
Yeah, I think Adian's like, I do think he's so close to death that he can't help but think about regrets or, you know, things he might want to mend if he survives. And so, yeah, that's a cool moment. Oh, yeah, Rolf just gets cooler and cooler.
I know.
He hasn't stopped
king.
getting cooler since we met him. Like, it's so awesome to come in with fire lances and just be like, from the water, from like
a boat,
just like from behind.
Where'd they
like,
show up casually on a boat?
Is so awesome.
Oh yeah, because they made a note that he found them because of the map on his hand.
Yeah, yay!
But the question I had is because I literally wrote, wait, who is Ravi and Sol? I said, LOL, too many people. He said they intercepted Ravi and Sol.
Yep.
While sailing north.
Ravi and Sol of Syria. I wish you hadn't asked that question.
There's too many people. I don't remember who Ravi and Sol is.
Ravi and Sol. Ravi and Sol. If I keep saying it,
it'll help.
Prince Galen and his fleet, who came with like Ansel and all of them when Aelin surprised everyone. Because that chunk of the army was sent up the coast.
They separated
as a fleet
at the end of Empire.
So I think that's who they are.
Gotcha.
They're from that grouping anyway.
Don't take our word for it.
Sorry.
And then the other one is that Rolf kept looking over at Ansel.
Love that. Yes.
Multiple times.
Another couple. Yay! The best things that come out of all of this.
Love.
Rolf, I just love him.
So I hope that happens. Yeah. I wrote little hearts.
After she heals from trauma.
Trauma.
They all do, but chapter 64. We're back in Aniel. This is sort of the aftermath of the battle, and then Elide saving Lurkin, and Aelin unleashing her fire blast and the hot steam all over the place. And so everyone's back like in the castle walls or whatever, and we're with Irene, and she has just been like, she says she's thrown herself back into healing, and she's healing everyone that she possibly can. We learned that Lorcan, thank God, is alive. Irene needed Hafiza to help her with his wounds, and even that couldn't allow them to fully heal him. Like he's gonna be scarred forever, which is sort of uncommon for Fae, and so like he got hit really hard, and he's sort of out of it and asleep, but he is going to make a recovery. And next we've got Fenris sitting with Lorcan, and he wakes up and Fenris is there, and Fenris is just like, you're a lucky bastard. And they have a moment where it's like, okay, Fenris, why are you sitting there, like, you know, looking after him? Like they've had their rivalry for this whole time, and Fenris has wanted to kill him so badly, and so this is just a nice moment. And all Lorcan can think about is Alide, and he wonders where she is. And then we have like just an amazing moment. This second half of the chapter is all Alide and Lorcan, and he is kind of in and out of sleep, and he wakes up again, and she's there at the end of the bed, sort of like sleeping there because she's been looking after him. And she awakes, and they have a conversation, and she's asking how he's feeling, and he said that he would have died if she hadn't saved him. And she's just sort of wondering, like, did you mean what you said? Did you mean what you said on the battlefield as we were like running or whatever? They sort of profess their feelings for one another, and that's basically how the chapter ends. They profess their feelings and they kiss, and she has to get back to, you know, help the healers and everyone in the keep. Mm-hmm. But he's just sort of happy again, or happy for once at the end of the chapter, even though he's been through so much. Yeah. And it's a beautiful chapter. I loved it very much. I love Reed coming into all of this and dealing with all of these people, because she's just been chilling at peace in Antica. We forget that sometimes. It's like she has seen shit, obviously being a healer, but for the most part, she's been in her tower and like hanging out with Hafisa and studying and being a scholar. And now she's thrown in with all of these rough and tough warriors and stuff. So
we do learn that there was still some water from the dam. Yeah. That was going in a different direction, not towards Aelin. Mm-hmm. That it did destroy a lot of the city.
Yeah. Sorry, Aniel. And we also learned that Cashin's army arrives. Hello. I'm just so focused on the light.
I know. We're like, we gotta get to the important stuff.
We do see that he has arrived.
Yeah, first we see that the horn blared, so I got nervous. I was like, what is happening?
Oh, God. Not another thing, but yeah.
Just him and his... It was cute that we got that from her POV, that she looks out the window and Cashin is walking up with his army.
A familiar face who she can look fondly at now, which is great.
The friends.
Yes. And the Fenris and Lorcan moment is great.
Yeah, for some reason he chose to be the one to like look at after him. And I wonder why.
Yep.
I'm curious. What was Fenris going to tell Lorcan?
Yeah, well, since you're not dead, and then Lorcan falls asleep.
Yeah. He's going to tell him something. Or talk
Fenris has some things he needs to share that he's not sharing with people. It's very interesting.
Yeah. What was he going to tell him?
I have no idea. And then
just Lorcan,
literally just sweet nothings.
I know. It's crazy. Coming from him, I like that he kept thinking of Fenris too, or like Gabrielle. They're like, they would laugh at me for thinking or saying any of this. I meant every word, and I will until the day I fade into the afterworld. He's so like emo boy.
He is. Yeah, he's the most like the Bat Boys. You know what I mean? Like he says things like that. Well, Rowan does too, but it's more, I don't know.
He's more emo. Yeah, like more emo boy.
Is so emo. I love it. And then at the end, she's like, say it.
I thought that was so funny. And then Lorcan allowed himself a rare smile as she walked out.
I can't. And they got pretty steamy.
He was like, later. Oh, yeah, the true owner of his ancient wicked heart. Oh, my God.
Damn.
I
Yeah,
can't.
it's so emo. I love it.
He would be so night court. That's hilarious. Chapter 65. We're back with Manon, the queen of witches, and she's gazing out eastward to where Dorian would have flown tomorrow.
She's like, oh, he would be just like a plain kind of bird. And she's like, looking.
Yeah, as if he knew her better than she knew herself. He denied her of her sacrifice that she was trying to make. Today would be the day that she dared to ask the Crokins to follow her in this war. So she was planning on turning around and be like, y'all, you gotta come with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a young Crokin starts running through the camp and is yelling, Terracin calls for aid. And they're all like, what? Oh my God, this is a big deal.
Unheard of.
So Glennis looks all ancient witchy and like staring at the fire, the earth fire.
Yeah.
And then the immortal flame, yes. And then she slowly turns to Manon. She's looking at the flame of war, the immortal flame, slowly turns to the new queen of witches. And she goes, what will you do, queen of witches?
What will you do?
And Manon just says, I shall answer Terracin's call. And everyone else slowly just starts to stand and says, so will I. So they let Manon, like Glennis told her way in the beginning of the book,
Yep.
light a torch from the fire. And eventually she went over and lit another fire that Bronwyn then takes to another earth. Then they light it. So it goes all down the line. Eventually all 7 earths lit their torches from Manon's. And then the scout took her torch and started flying off on her broom to go to the next clan to tell them that the queen of witches summons you to war. And this would be such a cool scene to see.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. All of a sudden in all these different towns, these witches in hiding come out and get their brooms from closets, under floorboards and trunks, like hidden red cloaks. They tie their hair back. They say goodbye to their husbands that are like, what the fuck is going on? They had no idea. They say goodbye to their children. They literally get up and leave everything and fly off on their brooms because their queen summoned them to war. Husbands that are wide-eyed as the women took to the skies, their red cloaks billowing in the wind.
I mean, like, could you ask for anything cooler than this? Like, how are you kidding me? First of all, it is a direct pull. Like, for me, it's a direct correlation to, I'm doing it again, to the third Lord of the Rings movie where they're saying the beacons are lit, Gondor calls for aid, and like in all the different places, they're lighting their beacons so that the next they see it from far off, they light theirs, and it's the same feeling of that where finally people are rallying together to help in this war, and the witches especially. Like, are you kidding me?
Like, the witches have been like these husbands and their families didn't know. They've been in hiding this whole time.
That part was the best. Like,
they take out their brooms from the closet.
Swords, ancient and beautiful, were drawn beneath floorboards, hauled down from haylofts. Like, it's just so exciting.
That was just such an epic,
Yeah, you can see the montage. Like,
yeah.
It's so good.
And they don't care. They don't care. They just flew away.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they know that fire. Like, that is the one thing that, like,
they've been waiting. You know, it's all that they're waiting on.
I know. Way too cool.
It's so freaking good. And yeah, at the very end of the chapter where it's like the POV of the townsfolk being like, witches here among us, like witches are going to war, like what?
It's like no one mourns the wicked.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like yelling, and like some are scared and concerned and angry, and like,
I mean, it's crazy to think right at the beginning of the series we thought like these witches were in complete hiding and only fighting, not even fighting amongst themselves. It's just one clan killing the other in secret. They were all in hiding. And now, right, to be raising an army, like, just like that, whole army of witches is about to just, like, go
on their brooms and their red cloaks. Like, that's nuts.
The red cloaks are really cool.
And then we have the last chapter in this set of 11, chapter 66. And Aelin is finally awake after her flame burst, which is a soft way of putting it. It had been 3 days since the battle. She learns that Caution's army is there. They've arrived. She and Rowan they're just kind of rehashing the battle a little bit and like what she did. She also happens to mention that back in Wendlin, when they had left the cave, the Little Folk cave, she sent a letter to Aedion. Not just Aedion though, but also to who? Rowan's uncle and Essar.
Who is his uncle?
Somebody in
Dornell.
Yeah. So she sent letters to them, basically telling them exactly what happened to her in captivity with Maeve. And she also is like, I also kind of mentioned that Maeve might be Valg and like a couple of other things. And
she said lucky guess.
Right. Because at that point, she didn't know for sure because she hadn't heard the news from Nezrin and all of them. And he's like, well, damn. Okay, I guess you did that. And so now it's sort of getting everyone thinking like, oh, once that reaches these people, what is that going to do in Doranel? So TBD on that. And I think he's hoping that they can find a way around this, the lock situation and the keys and all of that. So then they're going to go join in with the others, and they're walking through the halls, and everyone's sort of gawking at them like, oh my God, like the fairy queen and her consort, and they're having a funny little moment together, which is nice. She meets Caution, which is awesome. She's like, thanks for coming. Let's get to the point. Like, what are you guys going to do? Where will you march? And they are like, we're going to go north.
Sartek.
Surprise, surprise. Yay, Sartek.
Love you.
If you and your companions are recovered, we'll press northward as soon as possible, he says. Which is great. And then we switch over to frickin' Lord of Aniel and Kaol, because Kaol is now trying to make this deal with the wild folk in exchange for their help across the gap, or the Farian Gap. They could own a piece of Aniel land, and his dad is like, F no. And he's like, well, you don't really have a choice because I outrank you as Hand of the King. Wow. Which is great. The end of the chapter is all about Irene and her curing a Valg soldier. And so Aelin is there to watch, and everyone's kind of watching. She has healed 10 today in just one day so far, and Aelin watches Irene heal a Valg soldier, and he wakes up and he's just like a regular guy.
And so thanks.
Yeah, interesting that, and see what happens.
Yeah.
So a lot of little things happen in this chapter.
Yeah.
Just to sort of wrap up our time in Aniel, I think, and see where everyone's going to be next.
I liked that Aelin woke up to the scent of home. Not because she was home, but because Rowan was next to her. And as long as he's with her, she'll always be home.
Listen, I'm obsessed with them, but like they are a little cringe for me.
They are so corny.
Like they're very corny.
Oh, yeah. Them talking was cute. 'Cause at least they like got a moment together again. She did say she's really tired of waiting for her sacrifice. Like she just wants all of this to be over. She just, I don't want to do this. I need it to be over. And then she sat there and she tried to summon a little ball of water. Her mom's power that she got that she's never really like used.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. She's like sitting there trying to make a little ball of water. And he was like, maybe eventually you'll get it. So I don't know.
I know. That's cool. The Avatar.
I know.
She and Dorian literally like just make up the Avatar.
The rumor part cracked me.
I loved the rumor line.
He was like, well, some of the rumors are like miserable bastard and like that I killed someone with a chair leg. And she's like, a table leg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, you did kill someone with a table leg. And he was like, yeah, I know.
And then she created one as they were walking. You flew back onto the battlefield to peck out the eyes of our enemies and ate those eyes? Like,
Again, great little moment of levity. I loved it.
Yeah, and he was
So
like,
funny.
thanks.
Yep. When she was describing the letters she sent and how she sent them specifically to people in Doranel, and I'm like, oh, like she's swayed people via letter before. Like, I do wonder if this will sway the people of Doranel to revolt against Maeve. That's really exciting to think about.
And that's her goal.
I hope it happens. My God.
I did like that when they go into the tent to see Irene healing the soldier. Bort is just like really bored in the corner. She's just like,
I've seen this 10 times
she's
today.
Like, I've been here all day long.
I know, it's so funny.
But then the last I flagged too, that in the beginning of the chapter or the last one, I don't remember. Irene was still in awe of Aelin and Rowan's powers that they showcased at the end of that battle.
Yeah.
And like, she was just kind of like shook. She's never seen anything like that before. But then at the end of this chapter was Aelin's turn to like be in awe of Irene's power. And the fact that she was doing all of that while pregnant, and that like she was just like, she was just kind of like shocked. She's like, well, damn, like she's got her own like insane power over here.
There's just like no better writing for women than these books. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like them admiring each other and being
They're
so
all the most
powerful.
powerful. I know.
It's so awesome. I love it. So that was, we knew it was a doozy. It hurt to talk. Yeah.
You talked so much.
Whew. How do you feel?
Antsy.
Yeah. See, yes. Should we do our fangirl questions of the week?
We should. I suppose.
Okay.
Unless you don't want to.
No, I do.
Fangirl questions of the week.
So every week we do 3 questions. We have 3 questions that we ask each other. Number 1 is Fangirl pick of the week, or your most valuable character of the week. Second is the ghoulish gripe, or what really bugged you about these set of chapters. And then fangirl fantasies, and what you want to see in the coming chapters.
I always find it so funny that I always have such a hard time picking one ghoulish gripe, because I'm usually just annoyed about quite a few
many things. Well, yes, of course, I know. What was your pick of the week? Who is your pick of the week?
This one was the hardest one to choose.
It was. Everyone did really a great job.
Everyone did such a good job. Everyone gets
Killing
2
it.
gold stars. Because at first I was going back through my notes, and first I wrote Manon, and I was like, duh, she's now Queen of Witches.
Yeah.
But then as I was like going through them again, I was like, wait, shit, but like I have to pick a Lyde.
Yeah.
But then at the end, I'm like, wait, I feel like I have to pick Rolf. Like,
oh, Rolf is a good one.
And then Aelin this one I really.
Yeah. Everyone pulled their weight.
Overall, it was a big moment for Lyde and that story. So I feel like that might just, if I have to pick one, like that'll be the one I'm leaning to, because I know you're going to pick Manon. So, I figured I'd give you that one.
I agree with Lyde. It was like she overcame a lot, and she, without any, power that we know of.
Again, yeah.
Went out there just like no holds barred. I'm going to do it. Yeah, whether I make it out or not. It's a hugely, she's very brave. She is a very, very brave
all of those
character.
People stood on the keep, and they were like, oh no, what do we do? And she was already on the field.
Yeah. Surely one of them is faster.
1,000%. She's tiny and limping.
She had the motivation, obviously. This person she loves.
She's a different motivation than the others. But, yeah, it was just
it had to be her.
It was a very big moment. Yeah. That's mine. Who's yours?
It has to be Manon. I did say, it is Aelin too. And it's sort of like this, 2 queens ruling sort of thing for me. But it has to be Manon. I mean, the things, whether they were good or bad, that I've been waiting for happened all at once. And it was really, overwhelming. But her officially becoming Queen of the Witches is something that I've wanted since I met her. Since I met that character, I was like,
my girl.
That's my girl. And so I'm really happy about her. Ghoulish gripes?
I feel like I should have picked a better one. This one.
What is it?
That Dorian just hit it and left. I just
yes.
I get why, and I agree. I don't think it should have gone any other way, you know?
I know.
But the fact that they finally did cuddle and she woke up to a cold bed alone, like, that just made
That's
me sad.
what causes women to never cuddle again.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
She's
she
gonna
finally, that's what I'm, yeah.
She's gonna regress, Dorian.
That's what I felt bad in that moment for her.
I know.
And I know they both had their reasonings and that she even understands. She's not even mad at him. She gets it and she agrees with him.
Always
But
understand each other. That's crazy.
yeah, but that moment, I was like, but she didn't have to wake up in a cold bed alone.
I know. Agreed.
What was your?
You know, honestly, like, I was so proud of everyone. I had a hard time picking a ghoulish gripe, so but I did say, why so many Morath soldiers? Just in general, like, why are there so many?
Well, I hate to break it to you, but I think there's gonna be more.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Why
like,
so many?
and why are they, like, smart? Like, why are they able to?
They're otherworldly.
I know. I think I'm just. I don't mean to keep doing this, but it's like I just think of like orcs. Like they're just like mindless, expendable orcs, and they don't have any purpose other than just numbers.
They have crazy numbers, yeah.
But they are also powerful and smart and are formulating their own plans, and that's so scary, and there's so many of them. So that's my gripe. That's my gripe.
That there's so many of them. That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
I agree. It's never ending.
They never end. They keep saying that, too.
What are your fangirl fantasies for the next coming chapters?
I mean, I think it's going to happen because it's kind of saying that it is, but I'm just excited to see some witches up in the north. Like, if they're flying, like, are they going to get to Adian first? I wonder. And he's going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, that's the imagery of that, like the snow and then the red capes and the brooms coming in.
True.
He would just be like, of course, this is what happens. Not my cousin and who's supposed to be
all my
here
friends.
with me and my friends.
Where are my friends?
Of course, it's these witches, like, and Krokens.
That would be so funny.
No, none of them have ever seen one. Probably
They've all been hiding. That's true.
So it's. Can't wait. That's I fantasize about what that's gonna look like. What is your fangirl fantasy?
I hope we get yet another couple.
Rolf and Ansel.
He looked at her twice, so that means it's gonna happen.
Yes, it's true. It's just facts.
Longingly.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I really, it's bothering me. I need to know what Fenris was gonna tell Lorcan.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He was very keen on being like, well, now that you didn't die. And then Lorcan has the audacity to just fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really bugging me.
Yeah,
like,
that's
I really want to
interesting.
know what that was.
And the 360 shot of all four of them together is also.
I need to see the 360 Avengers superhero pose shot of the four cadre. Like,
the opportunities that HBO has.
I know.
With this,
I know.
It would be better than
anything.
It would be better than anything.
They should stop doing anything else and just focus on that.
Quit it with the Game of Thrones prequels. We do not care.
There's gonna be another one. Like,
and pick this up. I'm not going to ask again.
You tell us.
I'm not going to ask again, HBO. It's late.
I'm quaking in my boots here.
I know. Are we smack in the middle?
A little past, I feel like.
We're a little
past.
past.
Now that we did this chunk, we're past.
That's crazy.
I know.
I think we're about to be at part 2, actually.
Yeah, part 2 is
next. Yeah, we are past. Damn. It's like I don't want it to be over, but like obviously I
want to know what's happening. Yeah.
To know what happens.
I know. I was thinking earlier that like, oh, it's gonna be so sad to like say goodbye to our friends. My friends.
Absolutely, my friends. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, well, who am I when I don't have thoughts of them just like dancing around my head?
You still will.
All day. Yeah, true. All right. Well.
Woo-wee.
Wowee. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. So next week, we will be covering chapters 67 through 77. So that's the next 11 chapters in Kingdom of Ash.
So jumping into part 2.
We're almost there.
Mm-hmm.
Comment below your fangirl pick of the weeks, your ghoulish gripes, your fangirl fantasies.
This meeting of the Fan Ghouls Club is adjourned.
That's pretty good.
Remember when I missed your hand last time?
We almost always miss some part of it. Good night.
Bye.
Stay spooky. No.
Oh my God.